That's it. Got a big blob there, haven't we? Take that out. Okay, I'll do some more with that because I want to get the effect almost as if that's casting shadow. It's not, you know, but it's not reality. It's not what we're doing, is it? It's reality filtered through our impressions of a scene. It's very deep, isn't it? And I just want this to be quite a strong silhouette right here. Now, because that's all wet, it's going to soften into it. So we've got to be ready with our brush to mop. Literally use the mop as a mop. Right. Carry some of that over here. Oops, see, that's what goes wrong when you fiddle. See? Should have done that, should I? Lift it off, it'll be okay. Nothing's unfixable, almost nothing's unfixable. Right, as I say, I'll dry that now. Now, one of the things I've noticed that I don't really like is here, the way that just, you know, it just doesn't look right. So, and on the photo, the landscape, sorry, the distant landscape kind of sweeps around there. And so, rather than trying to fiddle about, I'm going to glaze over this and make the shape of the distant hills like that. Sorry, the distant land mass. Bring that around. You can dilute some of that away. That I really want to stay like that. Okay, that's better, and I can do more with that in a minute. Some things you kind of, you know, you look and don't be afraid to wash over things. If you do it quickly, it doesn't disturb very much what's underneath your brush, and actually put in little light areas. But it's an effect you can use quite a lot, and in fact in the rough brush techniques I use it a lot, but I don't tend to use it when I'm doing this type of painting so much. But you can, and it's effectively is what we've done when we've done some of the sort of light beams in the sky, is really lifting out still wet water, revealing more of the paper underneath. So there we are, I'll try that bit. Right, now I'm going to do a little bit more in the background, because obviously this is very high up, doesn't really come across I don't think on here, but I'm going to, there's obviously like trees and very distant sort of trees and bits and bobs down here. So the way you do that is just in this way really, just by lots of little marks, just to sort of hint at something going on down there. Now it always dries a lot lighter, so don't worry if you think, oh, it looks too dark. You get used to that. You get used to knowing how things are going to look when they dry. And in this case it should dry looking a lot lighter than this. Now we can use the rigger later to go in and do some more on here, which I might do because there's, in the photo you can see that there's some obviously green fields in the distance there, which we can use some white gouache just to lighten areas along there. Don't want that going over there. Okay, using mostly just violet, winds of violet and ultramarine. Putting in some more textures along here where there's all these shrubs and such like. And I'm going to get some yellow, very cadmium yellow pale. Bring some of that in here, just touch it on. And another good colour, this isn't the magic colour, but another good colour which is quite opaque and pushes the other colour out of the way, is yellow ochre. So you can use that sometimes where you want to lighten the areas a little bit. Just want to get some interesting opaque runs there. Don't mind having that. Because basically the idea I've got here is that we're going to have the detailed areas kind of around this section here, and it will lead your eye towards it, as hopefully you'll see. And now I'm going to reveal to you the magic colour. It's not really. Cobalt Turquoise Light, or CTL as I think of it. It's a very strong colour, but it is actually, looking on the photograph, it is actually the colour to use. Perhaps a little lighter than that, although of course it's going to dry light. And I'm just going to have little touches of this just to be those sort of grasses that are there, or bits of rock and such like that are lighter in colour. And I noticed one thing, around here it looks as if it's plunging away, so I'm going to give that effect as well in a minute. I guess there's like a ridge along there really, and this is kind of helping to show where the path is. I'm going to slap in some of the flowers and such like there in a minute. Okay. And I'm going to soften some of those again. That's it. Now that will become more lively when we use some of the gouache, the white gouache, to bring things out. We'll see that in well, very, very soon. In fact, next step. Now there are people who say you shouldn't use white paint, white gouache in a watercolour. I'm not one of them. Now this dries a lot lighter, sorry, a lot darker, not lighter. So it's the opposite of the watercolour. And we're going to use it to highlight the path and to put light in little areas, just like I said that I would do. I'll stop talking again because I've got to be a little bit careful doing this. You can add a little sparkle to things. Just want to, I mean the path, in the photo you don't see it, but I'm kind of trying to give the impression that the path is winding away around the corner there, around a bend here. It's artistic license, which I use freely. Okay, now, how much do we do? A few little touches. I'm going to put some here, around here. Actually, I'm going to go on to the, I want that to be a bit stronger there. Go on to the rigger brush in a moment by using the white gouache. Okay, I'm going to dry this and see how we are. You can see how that's dried much darker. I'm using the rigger now just to come in, put some more in. I mean, you mustn't overdo it, but in a picture like this it's okay because there is actually quite a lot of broken white light areas. And you can, if you want to, use the spray to soften it down. Sometimes I just mix it with a little more water away from the main focal area here, main focal area being here, and put in some indications of lighter areas. Not sure about that bit, but you know I was saying you can do this. Brilliant. It just makes some fantastic patterns occur in there like that. Just let it happen. Just to give the impression of distant fields, etc. when that dries, hopefully. If not, we can take it out. It's all correctable. Right, I'll let that dry and see how it looks. sometimes it's a bit like looking at ink blots, and you start to see things that, although it's not in the photo or if we were on the scene, see, I've noticed that there's these little areas here, and I think that's just going to continue to lead the eye in. Now I might take it out, but I'm just going to do it like that. You just get a feeling for things as to what's going to, could be wrong. Just taking out the edge of the mountain, really. So I'm going to have a slightly darker area off to the other side of it, which I'll do in a moment. So I'll see how that looks when it dries. Right, you can see that that's dried a little, and it's made a small difference. It was just something that occurred to me. You know, you never know what's going to work, what's not. And what I want to do is it's like against that. I'm just going to darken this area a bit. It just calls out to me to do that. Don't know why. There you go. And now I'm going to be going back to do some more chucking on of paint here. I want to get the, remember I said to you there are some red flowers there, and there we go, just a bit there. I think I'll do some on that side as well. Got my laptop computer off to the left, let's be careful. That'll do. Stop there, dry that. I'm not going to do too much more to this, but remember I said there seems to be a lower section around there. Well, I'm going to put that in by using cobalt blue and a shadow through here very, very quickly. Just like that. And then I think I might use my spray just to soften the edge of that. It's at this stage where you can mess things up by doing too much, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to have a little look at that and think, and come back to you in a moment. One more last thing. Famous last words. Just a little darker area down here, just to help put the path back, bring the path forward slightly. No more than that. Gonna have to stop there before I spoil it. Start fiddling, ruin it, don't you? So there we are. I'll just sign it in a moment, but that's done, I think. Well, just one last little thing. Not even using paint, but using water and a fingernail. You just get a brush loaded with water. I'm going to put some light areas, just little light areas, little scratches to indicate sparkle on the rocks here. You literally just do that and no more. Wait, count to 10 or so, and then you can use a fingernail just to make a few little sparkles there at our focal point. That's it. Hardly notices, but it's just those little extra little touches that can make quite a difference. And now I've decided it's complete, so all that remains is to sign it. There we are. Well, even if it's not a style that you'd use yourself, I hope it's given you some ideas of how you can use this kind of loose approach in your own watercolours. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.